getting out of a laundry chute in Chicago, and just, comic gangster type thing. And it's got a vaudeville feel to it. That's basically the story.
So what's the line in that song then? Sing like somebody...
I want to sing like a canary.
Like a canary.
Yeah. That's all movie line gangster talk. I want to sing like a canary.
Won't go
naming names. I might need police protection, but I play my own role.
Yeah.
So...
but the reference to the syndicate, you could think is record business or something. Yeah.
You could do a nice Bob Dylan type breakdown of that.
You really?
I must look at that again.
You refer to stashing the loot 11 years ago, and I think, 11 years ago in Rory's life was really just, things were just getting off the ground, so you had this idea, and it sort of got buried and lost, and you know where it's at, but maybe the syndicate doesn't. I'm reading too much into it, obviously, if that's not being intended.
No, I didn't. I mean, I was aware of the fact that with the title, that some people would see me as sort of the last crusader of the blues or some kind of independent, because I do certain amount of things my own way, as a man said, but I don't like to be so self-conscious that I see myself as, I don't like to be the last of anything, for one thing. But, I don't mind being independent, but
well, maybe you'll get something going again. I mean, if that's your last of the independence at this point, but a lot of things have changed, say, just in the last 2 years while you've been gone, in terms of rock and roll. Yeah,
but I don't think they've changed. I think in America they've changed for the worse. Things have gone very formula, so much disco, and a lot of the big bands are just pure, prefabricated, sort of corporation type bands.
I think we know what we're talking about. Yeah. You don't want to name names.
No.
But if I threw in Boston or Kansas or bands like that...
yeah, well, Kansas, I mean, they have paid their dues, they've been around, and Boston had to, but that's what, if I look at the Billboard charts now in those magazines, I look through it, and the only records I like, the Stones record, I like Springsteen, and then you start running out of, I'm not so much, not Boston or Kansas, I'm glad to see in the charts, but there's so much formula, what I call synthesized, prefabricated stuff. There's not much raunchy, funky music. There's heavy, loud music, but not just independent music. I know what you call it. In England, things have gone overboard with new wave and punk, but I think that's a more positive movement than some of the things that were going. Some of the bands were getting so big, it had to be Shea Stadium or nothing, and it had to be 15 limos and Cecil B. DeMille stage. So at least the sobriety that the new wave people brought in. But then some of the new wavers don't. They pretend they were born yesterday. They pretend that they never heard of Eddie Cochran or Muddy Waters and these great people. I like the Costello's great, but I mean, I can hear echoes of all kinds of people in his music.
Yeah.
But he doesn't credit them. Whereas Springsteen, who I admire greatly, was the first to say, yeah, I dug the Booker T. the MGs. I loved. He's so honest, open about it. He's just a great rock fan for years, and he just does his own. So I think to be. I mean, he's had enough compliments already, but he's definitely. He is quite big at the thing to say rock and roll. I mean, in terms of being a big star, but still convincing. I don't know. Would you like a Johnny whiskey?
No, thanks. No, it's nice.
There's another beer there.
Sure. Which songs on the new album do you like the most? And how do you? Well, I got that question too, but I also want to know how you see that album as fitting in with the other things you've done in the past. Is it with that 2-year break in there? Is it? How do you stack it up with the stuff you've done?
I'll give you a glass because the tops and those can be a little bit raunchy looking. I think it's different from Calling Card. I think Calling Card was kind of it's an album I like. It's a good sound. It's a good level feeling. I don't think it has the excitement that the new one has. I think this one is the best album of the lot, in my own opinion, but because it's got the songs stand with fists there, and the beat is there, and we don't overplay or underplay. There's plenty of guitar, but it's not an ego trip, and it's not. I like the sound in it. I mean, I like all the albums naturally, in some way or another. Even though it's hard to compare it. It's because some people think because it's a three-piece that it's connected with Deuce or the first one or Taste albums. I think it's a little bit like Tattoo. I think in terms of some of the like Cradle Rock, Sleep on a Clothesline, that type of gritty thing. Bite, yeah, and that's what I want this album. I dropped the songs that were anyway vacant. I wanted a real album that just kicked in, not full-scale war all the time, but different ways of kicking. I don't know. Is that the kind of question you're asking? Or,
yeah. But and in terms of direction too, for what you're after, I mean, you may not know from album to album what you really are after the long term, but.
Well, I did have quite a vision this time before doing it, and of course the vision became clearer as time went by. That I wanted, even though I love playing acoustic guitar, I wanted the album to be very rhythmic and hard, but not in the normal hard rock, heavy metal sense. Just really brass knuckles music, which. I mean, some critics say, "Oh, he's just doing all rock and blues, and he's not changing. He's not going fusion. He's not." But people are expecting you to do something that is a fake change. I could do a fusion album like that; it would be fun and so on. But or you could do a reggae album and wear a country western hat and a cover, and everyone said, "Oh, he's progressing." That's not progression. That's just playing different games with the media. No, what I want to do is play music that I think there's a distinct lack of around. There's very few people doing good meat and potatoes music with interesting songs. So I'm boasting now, but I mean, no, I mean there's a couple of people playing good, tough music, and I'd hate to see this stuff dying. But on the other hand, I just don't want to be just recreating old blues or anything. I want to do new songs, but make it, but. Obviously, anyone listening can see that I'm a blues fan and a rock fan. So that's my ambition, I suppose, really.
Well, you mentioned the media and how you manipulate the media, how other rock stars get into that whole bit. And it occurs to me that the biggest rock stars, other than a couple people you mentioned now, like Bruce Springsteen, people create a public image, which the media and the public get to look at and create and talk about and gossip about. But you're obviously not into that. Do you think it's possible to be a rock star and make, mega bucks, big bucks without doing that? Does a guy like Springsteen's success give you hope?
It does, yeah. Springsteen, Bob Seger.
Bob Seger was the other guy I was going to mention, exactly.
I mean, that's heartening. I mean, if I ever broke on that scale, it's something I could handle, because they didn't make it with some wimpy tune that just came out of nowhere. I mean, it can be done. Yeah. I mean, what image is Bob Seger? Is just a guy with a beard and long hair, and he's got a great voice and a great band. I mean, it's almost.
But there is no separate image from the person. The person is the image.
Yeah. You see, it's him. Yeah, he just gives out a vibe, and that's it. He doesn't play the movie star act and try to be 10 different people at one time. Well, some people do that very well, and that's their privilege. And Springsteen, I mean, other than a certain amount of a premeditated image, there is in his sleeves and things. But in general, it's just it's whatever image. I think.
He's a pretty wholesome guy. He's pretty.
Yeah, he's a hard-working guy, but you don't sort of just say he's hard-working full stop. He's a great talent, but he's a guy you can imagine eating, drinking, sleeping, and
that's a good name.
He doesn't pretend that he's the master of the universe or the next the next greatest movie star of the world or the next that kind of thing. You know, it's
No pretension.
no. It's but it's possible in Europe, all right, too. I don't know. Really. So I think it's to make it really big in Europe it's just as hard, but it can be done without extreme media stuff. I mean, in my case, I mean, I've had a certain amount of publicity in Europe, but it's never been as much as a lot of people have had. So I'm lucky enough. I have a great following there, and in Japan. But here, I don't know. You could be lucky. I mean, some people like Seeger, could happen, but it's not luck in his case because he's been on for 10, 12 years.
Do you care if it does for your own career? Is it a big deal? Something you think about every day in terms of?
Well, I think time goes by very fast. You know what I mean? I don't sit down. There are more immediate things every day to worry about, like the gig and sound check and getting to the next venue and things. But in general, I mean, I would certainly. I'd love to be as big as Springsteen or Bob Seger by all means. In the long run, but I doesn't.
You've got a lot of years ahead of you too.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I don't know. I think you see, you're on one hand you're a musician. You just want to play what you enjoy and play to a good audience in some reasonably successful capacity.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. But I mean, naturally you're a human being and you have an ego like everyone else, and you'd like to be as big as you think you maybe deserve to be, or what other people say, God Almighty, you should be playing in 2 inches the Shrine, somebody else could do. And I've seen acts making it around that great, but it's just be careful, you end up sounding like a cribber, and I don't. No, I'm happy doing what I do. I'm just not as organised in my mind about success and planning as other people are. Which annoys some people who have to deal with me with.
Well, the first time we talked in St. Louis, I'm sure you don't remember, but I was really shocked. And it was after the concert, and you were really quiet off stage and really relaxed and just very complacent. What's going to happen tonight between now and when you get on the stage and go bananas? I mean, it's just like two different people. I can see the same person, but you get up there and it's a different story, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I don't recognize myself up there sometimes.
Really?
Or sometimes I don't recognize myself when I come off stage. It's I don't know. Some people just go from being